Welcome to the Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions. My name is Kimberly Jackson, and I'm the Executive Director. This week, we're working with Congressman Gus Bilirakis with a program he's done annually to provide resources to veterans in our community. We're honored to work with him. St. Petersburg College and the Institute will work hand in hand with governmental entities and community partners to make sure we bring nonpartisan issues to the public and to be a convener for the public and to let them understand what government can and can't do for them. And today I'm honored to speak with Jen Licata from Canine Partners for Patriots.
Yes,
I got it right.
Correct.
Yes, great. So Jen, please tell me a little bit about your agency and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you so much for having us. It really is quite an honor to be able to be here and be able to share with you what we do at Canine Partners for Patriots. So our mission at Canine Partners for Patriots is to give both veterans in active duty a second chance at life through our service dog program. So this is specifically for veterans in active duty who have post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, or military sexual trauma. Mm-hmm. So our program is very unique. We are based out of Hernando County, but we service veterans all across the state of Florida and even beyond. So we're set up in a very unique structure. It is a 6-month program, and we actually have the veterans come in once a week for 24 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So we train the veteran to train their service dog. Mm-hmm. So that's unique for a number of reasons, but the veteran's involved in the training from day one, which is huge. So instead of often getting a crash course of information that took 6 months to train the dog, the veteran's involved in that process from day one. So the dog and the veteran also form a very unique bond together as well. We're really focused on being pioneers for eliminating veteran suicide because that is a huge problem in our veteran community. And we're doing all that we can really to give these veterans a second chance.
So I'm so excited to learn about this. So do you have a specific type of dog that you use, and how do you decide who gets to come to be a part of the program?
Absolutely. So I'll answer the dog question first. So we don't. That's also a very unique part about our program is we don't breed dogs. So we actually rescue our dogs. They come from surrounding shelters, adoption agencies, rescues, and we have a great working relationship with different organizations all across the state of Florida. So we bring the dogs in and they go through extensive amounts of temperament testing because we have to ensure that there's no underlying aggression or anything of that sort, that they have the right mannerism and the right temperament to be for a successful service dog. So we have a canine acquisition team, and that's their sole mission, is they're the ones out there working with the rescues and the shelters, ensuring that we can find those dogs in order to pair with our veterans. Now, to answer the veteran question, we have our application process completely online. We do have a few requirements for the veteran. They must have an honorable discharge. Yes. They must be able to pass a clean background check, no felony convictions, because we do deal with military sexual trauma patients. So we must ensure a safe environment at all times. Yes. And then they also need service-related PTSD, TBI, or MST diagnosis. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the VA, but it does have to come from either a therapist or another doctor, that sort of thing. A lot of our veterans that come to us are in the process of sometimes getting maybe their PTSD to be service connected or service related. So that's why we don't necessarily make that a hard line requirement.
Do they live on the property, or do they just come in daily?
Nope, they come in once a week. So for instance, if one of our veterans, their class was on Mondays, they'd come in every Monday for 24 weeks. Most of our veterans are across the greater Tampa Bay area, but we do have some that come from as far south as Miami and as far north as the Panhandle. Normally, if they travel outside, I think it's about a 2-hour range one direction. We help them find overnight accommodations as needed. Obviously, we can't promise anything, but we pull together our resources to ensure that they're getting the help that they need and that they're traveling safe back and forth as well.
So now, is a dog specifically trained for a particular disorder, particularly because you're having rescue dogs and not training them from pups necessarily?
So it depends a little bit. The veterans who have TBI, you will more frequently see them with larger dogs because with TBI, balance is often a problem that is associated with it. So a lot of times those dogs are used for mobility purposes. Not all veterans who have PTSD necessarily have a TBI, so they may not need that element of the program. So it really depends on the veteran specifically. But all the dogs, for the most part, are trained for the PTSD, which is the medical alert of being able to sense that heightened adrenaline, which often comes with the panic attacks and that sort of thing.
Okay. Do you have doctors on the property?
So we have a licensed clinical social worker. He is actually our veteran counselor. So he works with both our veterans and their families. He does individual counseling along with group counseling as well. He has a couple different groups. So he has an all-male veterans group, an all-female veterans group, but also a spouses group. Because a lot of times, you know, it's a very difficult thing for the spouses to go through. So being able to have that sense of community again, even for the spouses, is incredibly beneficial in the long-term success of the veteran.
So in this 24-week period where they come once a week to learn how to interact with their dog and utilize the many support resources you have, how many people do you have going through the program at once?
So normally each class has on average 8 to 10 veterans per class, no more than 10. Because we really think that it gets almost too many people at that point. So we have a class Monday through Thursday, every day of the week. Right now they're at different stages in the program. So Monday, for instance, might be a beginner class, Tuesday might be a graduate level, Wednesday might be halfway through beginner, and so on. So not all the classes are at the same point. It's a kind of a rotating calendar per se.
Your program just sounds amazing.
Well, thank you.
How many years have you been doing this?
So we were founded in November of 2014. So we've been around for a little over 5 years now. We were founded by our founder, Mary Peter. She is a certified master dog trainer. So she has extensive experience in training canines, both police work, search and rescue, service dogs. She actually had her own for-profit dog training business. And veterans were constantly being referred to her. And she would notice time and time again, they'd be very withdrawn. They would not engage. They might come to one class and then not come to another class. There was just that connection missing. And that's really when her eyes were open to the fact that we need a program specifically tailored for veterans. And that was the birth of Canine Partners for Patriots a little over 5 years ago. We have rescued over 150 dogs from shelters. So we've given them a second chance at life also. And we have over 250 veterans who have graduated the program, which is huge, just to think how much we've grown in such a short time. We're very, very honored just to be able to continue to serve our veterans in the best way we all know how.
So do you connect any members of the alumni class with new class members? Do they stay connected in any way?
Yes, so that's actually another huge part of our program, obviously with COVID and everything. It hasn't been happening like it usually does, but we actually have a whole aftercare program of our event. So the purpose of an aftercare is to be able to bring both current veterans and also graduates to come together in a community setting. And we often will do a lunch or a catering of some sort. And it's just a great time for them to be able to come together and be able to meet other veterans who have gone through the program and they have similar life experiences. And it's that sense of community again that a lot of the veterans are not necessarily connecting with since transitioning out of the military. That's probably one of the things we've missed the most with COVID and everything, is because we're very blessed to have 10,000 square feet of training space. So we turn that into, we have tables out there and everything, but it's just a great time for our graduates to be able to come together, our current veterans to come together, staff, volunteers alike, and just to really be able to have that sense of community.
That's wonderful. Is there anything you want to share with our veterans? Because I know in times of COVID things are changed, but you're blessed to be outside, I assume, with doing your training programs, but are there any changes?
We have, of course, some changes. It's been a little bit of a slow transition with COVID and everything. We did have to temporarily stop in-person training for a little while. We had to make that call, and that was by far one of the most difficult calls we've ever made as an organization, because our whole mission is to bring these veterans out of isolation. And COVID is having the exact opposite impact. We're forcing our veterans into isolation, and that's not what we want to do. So We did start back up classes back a few months ago. Obviously, social distancing being concerned. We want to ensure everyone's general health and safety, but we have 10,000 square feet of, it's very similar to a warehouse training facility. So we have plenty of space. We can social distance. We can ensure that everyone has their own space, and plenty of space at that, because we do have such a great training area. Our application process is completely online for any veteran that might be interested in. It's very simple. It asks for a little bit of paperwork, but overall it's not too bad. And of course, if anyone ever has any questions, they can give us a call at the office, and we'll be happy to walk them through or answer any questions that they might have, whether our program would be a good fit for them.
One last question. Do you record any of these trainings?
Yes. Okay. So one of the big things we actually did with COVID this year was we normally traditionally do an open house. It's where we open our doors to the community, because the community has been so incredibly supportive of us over the years, and we invite them in. That was supposed to be in June.
Yes.
Obviously that did not happen, but we actually did a virtual open house. So in that, we actually live streamed everything to YouTube, and all of our videos are on our YouTube account now. So if anyone wants to know more details about the specific parts of the program, it's an excellent place to start. We have some of our training videos on there as well, and we will be creating more training videos as we go along and adapt to this new sense of normal.
Well, thank you so much, Jen.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
It was a
appreciate your
pleasure.
time.
Thank you.